Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody back to another session of HVAC for Beginners. My name is Chris. I am going to be your HVAC instructor for the day. I hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. But today we are going to get in on how does a gas furnace work. Well, if you go to a lot of homes, you'll either see two forms of an indoor unit, either a gas furnace or an air handler, which basically has an electric heat strip in it, and it's all electric. It has no functionality to gas whatsoever. But with a gas furnace, there are two types of fuel that they use. One is propane, the other one is natural gas. Now, both of those, are odorless type of gas, and they were used quite a bit. If you live out in the country, you'll see a lot of people running on propane. And then if you live in the city, mainly it's natural gas. But nevertheless, these are the two types of fuel that feed the furnace that allows you to heat your home. But let's go over what is the gas furnace. Well, a gas furnace is a common type of heating system used in many homes and buildings. It operates by burning natural gas and or propane to produce heat. Here's a general overview of how a gas furnace works. The thermostat. The thermostat senses the temperature in the room and sends a signal to the furnace when the temperature drops below a desired level. The ignition. When the furnace receives signal from the thermostat, it activates the ignition system. Modern furnaces typically use electronic ignition systems. Back in the day, they were thermocouple, so things have advanced since that time, which can be intermediate pilot, hot surface ignition, or direct spark ignition. These systems create a spark or use a heated element to ignite the gas. The gas valve. Once the ignition system ignites the gas, or the gas valve opens and allows the fuel and natural gas or propane to flow into the combustion chamber, the gas mixed with air for proper combustion. The burners. The burners are responsible for igniting the gas and air mixture. They are designed to create and control flame that generates heat without producing harmful byproducts, and that's basically carbon monoxide. The heat exchanger is a critical component that transfers heat from the combustion chamber to the air circulating through the furnace. As the burner produces hot combustions of gases, they pass over the heat exchanger, heating the metal walls. The blower fan itself is connected to the heat exchanger and circulates air throughout the system. When the air passes over the hot heat exchanger, it absorbs the heat and becomes warm. So real close and simple, as the gas is heating up your heat exchanger and expanding that area and filling it with heat, basically it's stagnant heat until the blower kicks in and hits it. It absorbs that heat and moves it throughout the house, which allows an even heating of your home. Now, air distribution. This is the warm air then is pushed through the ductwork using the blower fan. The ductwork directs the heated air to different rooms of areas of the building through the vents or the registers. So this depends. If you're in a mobile home, your registers, your supply registers could be on the floor, or if you live in a house, it could be mounted up into the ceiling. I have seen some that were actually in the wall, and usually that's through an electric system called a fur-down system. The exhaust system. The combustion process produces byproducts, including carbon dioxide, water vapor. These byproducts are expelled from the furnace through an exhaust flue or chimney to the outside. So you will see some pictures that I have, and it'll show you the galvanized metal flute that is running up, that is double walled, and it takes that byproduct and removes the harmful byproducts from the atmosphere and outside of your home and out through the ceiling. Thermostat control. Once the desired temperature is reached, the thermostat sends a signal to the furnace to stop producing heat. The gas valve closes, stopping the flow of fuel, and the burners extinguish. So it goes through a cycle. And then as I'm talking to you here, we're going to do a cycle repeats. When the temperature drops again, the thermostat detects the change, signals the furnace to start another heating cycle, and repeating the process. So this is what the furnace does. Thermostat will read, it'll satisfy, it'll shut down once it drops below the preset temperature that the homeowner has put on the thermostat. It will go through the same cycle and repeat itself. Now, it is important to note that modern gas furnaces incorporate safety features such as flame sensors and limit switches to ensure proper operation and prevent hazardous conditions. Regular maintenance and professional inspections are necessary to ensure the furnace operations safely and efficiently. And we'll go over that important part of that one at the bottom part of our video. Well, let's go ahead and take a look. These are two furnaces. One on the right is a full breakdown of the furnace. The one on the left is a furnace that has actually been installed, and kind of what you would see. I have two pictures of a couple of furnaces I want you to look at, but first we will go over this one. We're going to start on the left-hand side. This one actually feeds the return air from the side of it. It's not pulling it from the bottom as you would in a standard upflow in your home where the return air vents are at the bottom of the base. This one would probably be more likely in a basement further up north where basements exist, and it will side feed. So let's start. You're going to have a return register where your cool air will be pulled into the return and then pulled down into the bottom part where the blower assembly is. You have your return duct, and in this picture, this is galvanized ducting. There's no flex duct that you see here. This is all galvanized because it's mainly in a basement. As you go down, all of your furnaces by city code are going to have a power switch. They're going to have an on and off switch to kill power. You're also going to have a gas shutoff valve. These are all going to be by city codes. And if you notice, you can see the gas line running down right there by the gas valve shutoff. And that allows the service tech and the homeowner, if there's any emergency, or the fire department, to be able to cut the gas off to the furnace, in an event of a possible defect or a fire. You have across your burners, and if you see where the arrow is, you will see where the burners are. There are 4 of those in this one. Some, depending on the BTU that is putting out, could have more than 4. As you are going down, you will see where the filter base is. Nowadays, we have filter racks, and they'll have one of these filter racks that would mount to the side over there, and you would drill it in with 1/4-inch self-tapping screws and then seal it in with some silver tape and some, mastic if you choose. And that allows the homeowner to be able to change the filter on a 30-day basis, or if sooner, if need be. Down below, you'll see the blower motor, and the blower chamber. This all combination, we call it the squirrel cage. That's just the terminology we technicians use out in the field, but that's the complete housing of the blower motor. If you will take a look at the edges, you'll see the little mounts where the motor is held. There are rubber mounts there to help stabilize vibration so it doesn't shake. You will notice sometimes in some homes where the weights on the blower itself will be unbalanced, and it'll actually vibrate, and it can damage the squirrel cage and or the motor itself. You now have your flame sensor, your pilot assembly, your electronic or hot surface gas igniter within that location. That's where everything is, basically your combustion area, and then above that is your combustion chamber. As you go above that, you'll see the heat exchanger. That's where the gas heats it, surrounds it by air, and the blower assembly, when it is in operation, will pick up and absorb the heat and move it. You have your supply plenum. So on this one here, it has a supply plenum, which it will feed up into that. It will either have a damper in it where you can control the flow. You can have a damper handle and the supply duct itself, which is galvanized in this one, and then your supply register, and that's basically where it comes up. Now, what will happen in some homes up north, they might use an oil type heater, and that's one we'll go over later down the road, where they have a perimeter loop system where the oil heater actually, it runs across and heats the concrete floor and causes radiate heating. And that's a totally different concept of heating, and used in areas where, like Alaska and places where it gets extremely cold. Over on the right hand side is a complete breakdown of a gas furnace. And I'll go over 3 or 4 of them, but I'll allow you to be able to pause the video so that you can kind of go over in detail to see what you have. Let's talk about the squirrel cage or the blower. You see it says it's a variable speed blower motor. It is. You'll have high, medium, low, maybe medium, high, but you'll have adjustments on it. You will see where your control transformer is, your circuit breaker, your power choke, your sure light or 2-stage variable speed integrated control board, like the control boards we're talking about. And then you'll see the burners, the igniter package, your NOx inserts, just all kinds. Some of them will have a sill panel with a sight glass so that you can look into the burners with a safety factor. But I do recommend this. Anytime you are working on your furnace or doing any kind of inspection on your furnace and it is running live and you've pulled the door panel and you're engaging the safety switch, make sure you're wearing safety glasses. You don't want something to happen and then you lose your eyesight due to a mishap. Make sure you take every safety precaution that you have. Dealing with gas can be hazardous. It's nothing to play with. It's very expandable. It can fill an area quickly, and it just takes a spark to ignite, and you can get one heck of an explosion if you are dealing with it in an unsafe manner. You have your fluke transition, you have gaskets, but it's just a complete breakdown of every component that the service tech knows about to do service. And there's a lot there, and it all works in conjunction with itself and allows you to have a safe heating environment with natural gas or propane. These are 2 gas furnaces I want to use. Now, this is made by the same carrier, and this is what I wanted to use. These are 2 carrier products. One is Payne, which is called Payne Day or Night. The other one is Bryant. These are carrier products. They are just have a different name, but they are serviced and produced and manufactured by Carrier. Let's look at the one on the left. The one on the left is a Payne, and if you can tell, you see the gas furnace that is below. Up on top where your copper lines are feeding into, where your evaporator is stored, that is a A-type coil that is installed. And basically what they have done is it has 2 little sections where you can put in your drain, and the other copper line that you see on the right hand side that's going up the wall and feeding out is coming from a water pump, where it's actually feeding it into the pump and then it pushes it out of the home. So they don't have a drain under the house, they're actually pumping the water out. But the fluke they're talking about is that galvanized fluke pipe that you see just on top of the gas furnace. That is a double wall. It is drilled in with 1/4-inch self tappers or 5/16, depending on the technician. I like to silver tape the connections as it goes, just for an added safety measure. But this is a complete setup. If you notice the armor flex that I've talked about in other videos, that covers your suction side because that side is cold. That's the side that is going out. It's cold, it sweats, it drips water, it can get all over everything. And plus you need to maintain that cool or surrounding the suction line, and you don't want that to dissipate. It can change how the operation of your heating and air conditioning system works in the cool mode, not in the heat mode. Over on the right hand side, you'll see another one. And remember, I was talking about a filter base. If you look down below at the far bottom on the base of that closet, you will see a 1-inch filter base. The white material that you see that looks like it's painted is called mastic. It's a duct sealant. So what a lot of people do is they'll drill that in, and then we will put duct sealant around, all the way around, to keep air from coming into the return air from other sources besides the return air. If you look at the far left bottom of that picture, you will see the return air grill at the bottom. Down below is where it's actually pulling it in, and it pulls it up through. As you notice, the fluke that is running is a little bit smaller than the one on the left. There are different sizes depending on the BTU and what you are putting out. Same aspect, you have your evaporator coil that is on top. That is an A coil that goes up to your supply, and then in the far left right there in white is your primary drain off with a cap on it to allow water to drain off. Evaporators sweat, and that water goes into a pan and it runs off into the sewer drain. But these are two types of quite a few different companies out there that make gas furnaces. These are one of the better ones. I do recommend them. They're really good. I recommend Train, any kind of Carrier products, Train products, Ream, Goodman. They're all good companies today. Let's go over some important notes that you need to know before we end our class today. Maintaining a gas furnace in your home is important for both efficiency and safety. Here are some key maintenance tasks you should know and perform regularly. And this is for the homeowner. If you have one that's put in, make sure that you keep your manufacturer's package. You need to read the manufacturer's manual. Familiarize yourself with the specific maintenance requirements, because it's going to have a scheduled maintenance in there for you to follow for your gas furnace by reading the manual provided by the manufacturer. Regular clean or replace the air filter. I cannot be more highly important and suggest and be more abrasive with this to you. Change your air filter as it's required. Do not leave it in there past its due. You're going to cause yourself some issues. One, an overexposed air filter that's fully clogged can pull itself into the blower assembly, and it can get sucked up in there, and it can tear up the squirrel cage and damage everything, and it can cost you, $400 or $500, if not more, to replace that setup. Also, not replacing your air filters on a regular basis will clog up the evaporator, especially if you have dogs that have long hair. It is so much more important to change that filter, because their hair gets around the house and it will get drawn into the return air, and it can collect all over that evaporator. I've actually peeled dog hair in sections in just big chunk pieces when I pulled out an evaporator because they didn't change the filters on a regular basis. The air filter is your furnace. It helps keep the system clean and efficient. Check the filter monthly and clean or replace it as necessary. If you have what I call a steel filter or a cleanable type filter, it's kind of made of a metal mesh. You have to take it out and you clean it and wash it out daily. Those are okay. They can restrict air a little bit, but I've seen many of them out there. I recommend pleated filters over any filter out there. Pleated filter is one for people who have allergy issues. It kind of helps with that. It also collects 90% of the dust and debris that comes in there. Those standard cheap ones that have the metal circle rings that are cut out on them, they collect about 10-15%. They're just awful. Those are cheap throwaways, and they do you no good. Get a good pleated filter, a 3M, or one that's equivalent. Check for gas leaks. Periodically inspect the area around the furnace for the smell of gas. Natural gas has a putrid smell, or what I call skunk smell, that they add to it because natural gas is naturally odorless, so they add a material to it. So that closet is closed. Periodically open up and smell and see if you pick up a natural gas smell. If you do, I would recommend getting a service technician out there to inspect it to see if you might have a leak somewhere developing. And it's really important. It says right here, and if you detect a strong gas odor, turn off the furnace immediately. You turn off your power switch and leave your home and contact your gas utility company for assistance. I have said it before and I'll say it again. I have been out on 2 calls in my 28 years where these people called in and said they smelt gas. They didn't take the precautions necessary. I get out there, and when they opened the door, I was hit with such a putrid smell of gas that home was at risk for any kind of light popping on to explode that home right off its foundation. I've had to remove these people, call the paramedics, call the gas company, get the fire department out there, turn the power off, and have them vent the whole house out because they had allowed that to get to such extreme and ignored it that they put their life at risk. Test the carbon monoxide detectors. Make sure you have at least 3 of those in your home. Carbon monoxide detectors, CO, is a odorless gas that can be produced by malfunctioning gas furnaces. Install CO detectors if your home and test them regularly to ensure they are functioning properly. Make sure you do a monthly test on this. Reach up there and hit the button. If it squawks, change it. If you hear it beeping back at you, that's telling you the batteries are going low. It's time to change them. Inspect the furnace, blower motor, and its motor settings. Visually inspect the blower and its motor for any signs of damage, excessive dirt buildup. Clean them carefully. What you can do is, if you learn to take the panels off, you can do a maintenance where you can take the hose off of your vacuum cleaner, and you can go in there with a one that has a little brush connection and go in there and clean the walls and clean the side up. Don't try to suck the fiberglass, the padding that's on there. Be real careful about that. But clean around your blower assembly. That blower wheel is going to collect dust on it. The more dust you collect on it, the more it inhibits it to be able to run air through it to cool the motor. It will actually heat the motor up, and it can burn the windings out. Lubricate your parts. Some furnace models have moving parts that require lubrication. Make sure you refer to your manual. It'll tell you where to oil and have a good picture to where to go to. Appropriate lubricant as recommended. They're going to tell you there's a specific type of oil you're going to use, and you can get it from the AC supply houses. Check your pilot light if you have an older one, and or your ignition system. Nowadays, I haven't seen a pilot light in years. Everything is electronic ignition. If your furnace has a pilot light, make sure it is burning steady and has a blue flame. If you have an electronic ignition system, ensure it is functioning properly. Just get it a chance, let it go through the cycle. You'll watch the igniter heat up. You'll see the burner kick on. You'll see it hold steady. The flame sensor will be working properly if it holds a flame. If it kicks itself out after about 60 seconds, your flame sensor is probably bad. Schedule a professional maintenance. It is advised to have a professional HVAC technician inspect and service your gas furnace annually. That's once a year, guys. Have them come out in the fall before you operate your gas, and have them come out in the spring right before you need to use your HVAC system or your air. Remember, if you ever feel unsecure or unsure about performing or maintaining tasks on your gas furnace, it is best that you consult a qualified HVAC technician to ensure a proper care and safety factor. These are 9 important items that I highly recommend that you follow. Use them cautiously, but do them respectively, and you will maintain a good, safe environment for your gas furnace, and you will save yourself a lot of headache down the road. A very well-maintained gas furnace and HVAC system will save you on money. It will save you on heavy maintenance, and it can particularly save you on heavy maintenance items like cleaning an evaporator, pulling it, changing a blower motor that's burned out because it hadn't been cleaned and it was burned out way before its time. The outdoor system will go over it, and there's some maintenance that needs to be done with it at a monthly basis, just like it is on the inside. So the big key thing is when you're changing your filter, make sure that you do your monthly maintenance to the outdoor unit, especially during the spring, summer, and early fall when you're still using your heating and air conditioning system. With that, guys, I hope this helps you. It's a little breakdown of the gas furnace. It kind of gives you a concept of what you're dealing with. Kind of a breakdown, gives you a couple of views of what a gas furnace looks like in a complete cycle in the hallway. They do make horizontal units that are up in the attic, and that's more common today with newer homes. They just don't put them in the hallway anymore. They put them up in the attic to give adequate extra space for the homeowner. With that, guys, we're going to go over electric air handlers next in the same concept that you have here, and go over an important maintenance on it because it is a different dinosaur altogether. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Hit that subscribe button, the notification, and that bell so you get notified every time I put a video up. And with that, guys, I enjoyed doing this video with you. We will see you on the next video going over electric air handlers. Have a good day.